Working with. Um, coming to you live. Coming to you live. Let's see what we working with. See what we're gonna talk about. See what kind of audience I get today. If everybody comes through, I will be on for a couple of hours. I understand if people are not. So real. What's up? What's up? How you doing? How you doing? Just got on. Welcome to the new year. Do you have and we're gonna do this real quick. Happy New Year to you too. Thank you as always, man. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Welcome here, man. I'm glad you came through, man. Welcome to the new, man. It's been always, you know how life goes. We always got these battles, these obstacles. You know how it goes. Yeah, man. It felt kind of anticlimactic. I think because it being on a Tuesday night, not a lot going on, but you just want to be safe and sound. There's a lot going on in the world. So Eve Harley Pitch was like, yeah, yeah. I think we watch When Harry Met Sally. I tend to be more on the upward side because I can watch Get Out anytime, which I do. I'm watching Preacher's Wife tonight. I finally found it again because I like that. It's one of my favorites, Whitney and Denzel and Courtney Vance and Gregory Hines. Certain films I like to watch. Since we're mentioning movies, or we're talking about movies, and you ain't gonna never believe what I watched on the 25th. You will never guess. If you want to know what I watched on the 25th, give me a one. If you don't, give me a two. That's what I'll say. It almost was ET, but it didn't work out. But anyway, I'm gonna wait to see if you respond on it. Come on back when you're ready. Okay, you don't want to know what I watched. That's cool. I don't know who you are, the hedge. Fair color is orange. I'm gonna tell you anyway. But tell me if you want to know what I watched on the 25th last Wednesday. Give me a one. If you don't, initially I wanted to watch ET, and it wasn't meant to be. There was a glitch into watching Do the Right Thing, because I'm an extremist. So I had to watch Sal's Pizzeria, Mookie, Malcolm. I had to watch him. Rosie Perez, the whole nine. So yeah, it's all right. You meant it, but you didn't mean it. It's okay though. Anyway, I did. No, I watched it like only hundreds of thousands of times. She was, but it's one of the movies I always liked from being a kid. And E.T. relatable because I always felt like alien in them. A lot of stuff. So I always enjoyed it. I'll be right here. I'm sure Darvin Ham is doing that to D'Angelo Russell right now. You'll be right here. You know he did. Of course he did. I don't until you introduce who you are. I'm not gonna say nothing because. But anyway, welcome aboard. Tell me who you are, where you coming from. I'm gonna tell you something. I grew up in that area, so it wasn't. That was, and everything that was some stereotypes, but there was some cliches, but there was some factuals and factuals. Mhm. Especially from cats like Pino. Ironically, ironically, that's a funny story. My mother had an ex-boyfriend whose brother's nickname was Pino, but he was black. But it's a trip. You saw my video? I did my video. I had to I had to let him have it. Well, he do owe him a debt of gratitude because if he didn't have D-Lo act on those tirades upside Darvin Ham, he may never gotten a job. So he do owe him a back end of some money. He do. But it was hilarious though. But even more hilarious how they got their butt tore up last night and they really weren't in that game against a better Cleveland team. Let's talk about that, shall we? Yeah. Because D'Lo would have helped you against Cleveland. Trying to get myself sexual. Sigma Boo. Sigma Boo. I am trying to get my southern. Okay, well, tell me where you're from, because again, okay, I can't deal with that today. We're not gonna have no trolls on here, because that's just not what this is about. I don't mind if you got some news, but not just no jive though. Anyway, and if we got a good amount of conversation, I will be on for 2 hours. If we don't, I'll cut it. I just want to make sure that we're grown and respectful on here, because I don't do trolls. And this ain't romper room, and this ain't a kindergarten. I ain't trying to go behind nobody. Okay. Act was short lived. Anybody who wants to come on, feel free. Welcome to you. Your thoughts on now when you say Eve, are you talking about New Year's Eve? You talking about which Eve are we talking about? Because I don't really. And are you talking about biblical Eve? Or you and I don't know nobody person named Eve. I know Evelyn's. I don't say Eve. Oh, the rapper? Um, she did what you're supposed to do. The pit bull in the skirt, she wasn't a bad rapper. Nice looking chick, nice looking woman. Um, TV, got the bag. I mean, I mean, I know about if you're telling me about that payoff with it, well, she keeps her business to her mix. One thing I will say about her that I will say, okay, you want to go in? Okay, I'll go in. We got to go in. She did come through with Stevie J, one of Diddy's you know, baby oil buddies, but we're gonna leave it allegedly. Um, I liked her back in the day, for what she did. She did the remix to Michael Jackson's Butterfly. She was on one of Prince's songs. She was the it girl for a moment. Oh yeah, she's out the country for now. She ain't got nothing. Well, so first of all, she was with Rough Riders, and she used to be Stevie J's girl. See, I know I go back with Eve. And you gotta understand, I gotta recollect because you got me having to like Rolodex you know, I be sitting on this information about folks and then I don't think about them. And I don't get asked about Eve a whole lot, if ever. I did see your thing about Joe Budden yesterday. I didn't do no video about it because it's only going to help his podcast. Maybe he think he going to be like Joe Rogan, and if he does something, people will care. But the sad part, he's in an apartment, considering that he kind of acts like he's a semi baller, and there's nothing wrong with apartment. It's just that it's kind of hood. So I kind of look at Joe Budden, what you pushing, player, what you up to. Musically, I ain't thought about Joe Budden in 20 years. And I remember when he was doing hooks and different things. That's a long time ago. So, but anyway, Eve had moments, gangster girl, gangster. When she worked with Alicia Keys, and she had her moments. They fixed her up, dolled her up. I watched her TV shows. I watched her do her thing. Almost became like a black Barbie, So I ain't really thought about it though. So Tariq can roast her. I ain't really thought, unless of course they tie her into a whole lot of stuff where Swiss beats and then tie her into Stevie J. and they tie her into some other things. But I know she married some rich cat, split, and I ain't thought more about her. She ain't really crossed my gender. Well, yeah, what happened was Lisa Cabrera video came through to me, and then I thought, you know what, I got to get my own spin on this thing, and we talk about it. We talk about it, and when you come in here and inspire, and I always would love checking your quotes out in different forms when you always say it never ends well. So think about your shout out. And I think about that shuffleboard and tapping and happy and oh, we gonna make the master happy. We gonna make him some money. Like Stephen Smith, Stephen A. Smith, we gonna make him we. So when it goes in to count the money, there is no we, and you get cut. And all that extra that you did wasn't much of nothing. And what you got to show for it. Oh, I do. I do. I love it because I use it. And I know give you a shout out for it too, because I will. Especially it didn't end well, and the show don't end well. It really don't. And this was hilarious because they were on a going on. Oh yeah. Hey, what's happening, T Dub? Welcome to the new year. Glad to see you. Yeah, I figured that the score would end. It never does. They don't respect you. I figured the game would end close because the Vikings don't exactly put a stomp you out. And the Packers, unless they're playing a team that's a tier below them or they can't jump you early, they never spank a legit top tier team. So I figured, it was closer in scoring than it was in theory. I think the Vikings showed they were a better team. I think the Packers got to get on the ball, create havoc against a legit team because people are going to think that they're beating tomato cans. Even though I think Jordan Love is not the problem, it's the defense, and they got to do a better job. You know, Anybody, you can't play against every legit team and have to have these. It comes close because Jordan Love can make some stuff happen, here and there. But if you go against a team that can hold you to half field play and get physical with you and take you out, you could get waxed real quick. So yeah, but I figured that mm, you know, but Minnesota is legit. No, they don't respect you. It don't, and it never do. I think you should play. I saw with Keyshawn and Michael Irvin all that mess. They need to shut up. Let that man break that record. I need you to get that stamped. I need you to get that stamped. The Vikings are good. They're good. Now, can they beat Detroit? This is the time. The Lions are vulnerable. Injuries, they play no defense. So if you can do it, there you go. What's happening? How you doing? It's not that they don't trust them, it's that they know the game. See, you gotta be what you don't trust. And you gotta remember it cuts both ways. And it works effectively against us because with black folk, we don't always just take glad to have you here, thank you. We don't always believe that you earned your spot. It's always like, how did you get here? You know, it's like the old you in the neighborhood, who you work for. And that's the sad reality. So it's a double-edged sword. If you get the number one seed, depends on the road the people you gotta go through. It will be tough at home. It will be tough at home. But again, it's hard to say. I still think Philly's the best team overall. I just do. But y'all in there though. And that game against Detroit gonna go a long ways. Well, not just them, but also the ones that are trying to be um the ones that are trying to be part of the middle class. It's a lot of acting that goes on. So they take a lot. And they always take jokes because the biggest joke is having to take those dead presidents' money. Think about it. That's a joke in itself. And then people have to laugh and say, wasn't he a great president to you guys? And didn't he free you? Think about it. The joke started in your hand. Um, if he goes far in the postseason, they're gonna have to. I think you gotta pay Donald. I think you gotta pay Purdy. But if I was the 49ers, I'd have to make a decision. Do I keep the coach or do I keep the quarterback? That's my opinion. I think the Eagles are the best team in the NFC. I do. Win that championship. Well, I like staying a lot more as a man than as a coach. He was a good coach, but a better man. I'm not trying to divide the country. It already was divided, Mr. Bundles. My grandparents, my grandfather, great grandfather, etc., and my relatives from the Spanish War, World War I, World War II, Vietnam War had two different countries when they went to go serve in the military. You need to do your history before you come and address me. Okay? We already had the Black National Anthem, Lift Every Voice. It's been here for over hundreds of years. And they performed it at different events. And it's been done out of protest to Black lives being taken out. So please do your due diligence before you come and say such a thing, because the country's already divided. Do you know anything about Jim Crow? Do you know anything about the Brown versus Board of Education? Do you know 1964 Civil Rights Act before when they said separate but equal? So please do your homework before you speak. And he got fired too. What's your point, Ted? He got fired by Pat Riley because he couldn't take Shaq and D Wade to the next level the next year, and he almost went into the uh, Jimmy Hoffa witness protection program. He came back with Orlando, couldn't do nothing with Dwight Howard, got let go. And then his other forays with the Pistons, and he's had a couple. They didn't turn out too good. Yeah, he got Eastern Anna. Yeah, that's a nice resume. Unfortunately, when you coach the likes of Dwayne Wade, Shaquille O'Neal, and Dwight Howard, you got to do more than get one finals appearance out of it and two Eastern Conference finals because people are going to question your legitimacy. Purdy as a runner up in the Super Bowl, Purdy is proven that he could, he could start. He'll get money. You crazy if you think he ain't. You're crazy if you think he ain't. Because I'll give you one reason. He got more of a career right now. Yes, I do. Because the plus blunders are still a part of us today. We still got black first in this country. So until we get rid of the black first, but we still have lawsuits and everything impending, we still got them. Do your homework, please. He will get more, Ted, because he's a starting quarterback. If Kirk Cousins is going to, you're going to tell me Brock Purdy's resume isn't bigger than Kirk Cousins? Purdy got the same Super Bowl appearance as Joe Burrow. Purdy got more of a resume than Justin Herbert, more of a resume than Derek Carr, more of a resume than anything that Jacksonville's got to offer, anything that Carolina's got to offer. Better resume than Dak Prescott. You see where I'm going with this? Yeah, he gonna get more money. If I'm the yeah, he can command. I'm just going by if we go by Kirk Cousins, Purdy can get paid. If we go by Dak Prescott, Purdy can get paid. They're game managers. And you can make the case that what Dak Prescott had for almost equality, he went further. How is he better? He had a better receiving core, and what did he do? Purdy led a team to a Super Bowl. Oh yeah. He has kind of a wiry arm. Sometimes he throws bad passes, but it does make so T Dub, props to you. Because Ted, and sometimes people come and ask me what I think so and so will be like in the pros. I said, well, it's all about the coaching and the system. It's like that in any sport. And that's not a cop out on my part. Asking me, does a cat have talent is one thing. Asking me, can they go to another level with is another. Jared Goff looks good. Yes, I do. You don't got a problem with it, you can leave. I'm not keeping you captive here. I stand by what I said. Yes, everybody else done got reparations. We long overdue. What you not getting? And yes, we already had the anthem. It's not a second. It's been here for over 100 years. The one that you play as the national one doesn't even do the fourth verse. Why don't you ask them to play the right all four verses and see what happens? And the flag dragging on the carpet is wrong. Jared Goff is legit. In another era, he might have been in MVP consideration because he's actually balling this year. He looks good. A funny thing, why is Dan Campbell able to get that out of him when Sean McVay was supposed to be some offensive guru couldn't? Nah, I got to disagree with you, Uncle, for one main reason. Plunkett was a lifetime journeyman. That was a different NFL. I kind of understand what he's saying, but because the dollar amount, common sense. If you know how to do math in the United States, if you know how to do math anywhere in the world, do the math. White people are still making more money than black people. Why is that? That is a lineage to slavery. That is a lineage to what you've inherited and it's been passed down. And it is well documented on the cost of living and the separations and not the equality. So please don't ask dumb questions. Um, I can't say that one because Sam is still early in his career. When Plunkett went to the Raiders, he had been around quite a while, and so he was in a different setting. He was a forgotten man. Sam Darnold just played for a lousy team, but Plunkett was a Heisman Trophy winner, and he told around for years. That's the only reason why I disagree with your uncle on that. But I remember when Plunkett went with the Raiders. Close at the end, not really close though, Ted. Not really. Because y'all didn't really play that good to beat them. You played close enough to be in the game, but they had already done the damage. You're not really, not quite. I got to see Green Bay show me something in the postseason. I'm just gonna keep it 100. I'm not gonna sugarcoat that. Uh-uh. Didn't play well enough to win. Play enough to make it look close. Because you got the talent, but your defense got to do a better job. Sam Donald hit some big passes. I can't. I'll say this to you, T Dub. If he goes and wins a Super Bowl, then you can make that Plunkett. I can't say that because that's almost like saying, and he's not even half as old as Plunkett was when Plunkett did it. I remember, but I'm trying to tell you that he was years into his career. He had been with the Patriots. He'd been that was a different NFL. That's another thing when you go and talk about something like that. In all due respect, it was a different NFL because Plunkett was seen as a journeyman and he was seen over the hill. Sam Donald was never seen over the hill or a journeyman. He was just seen as a buster, a wash. There's a big difference. But the Raiders, and he connected, and it worked, but I can't make the same correlation. To be honest with you, if I was gonna compare Sam Donald's situation, it's comparable to a few guys. He's a better version of Baker Mayfield. Um, Rich Gannon would have been, yeah, that's just he must have read my mind. Reading my mind. But we don't want him to turn out like Rich Gannon did in 2002. If you remember how that turned out, then everybody will say, see, he was a fluke. We don't want that. And Gannon did get the MVP. So, but I stand on where I stand on. There's no questions to be asked. Now, well, Dilfer was more of a game manager. That's again, now you're so you can throw different names that I put in perspective. Dilfer was a game manager in the truest sense. So it wasn't, you know, Gannon did win. But Gannon was a journeyman who was kind of like her cousins. I'm not getting no backlash. I said what I said. If you don't like it, you dealing with it. You want to come face to face? I'm saying what I said. Yeah, we supposed to get reparations. Yeah, an anthem should be played. Yeah. And what's the problem? I didn't say anything that any other rational person wouldn't think or feel that was black. I said what I said. All I get is people who have a problem who want to be in denial about stuff. Thank you. There's nothing to back down about. I ain't stutter. I put it there. I said it. I'm man enough to admit it. I ain't afraid. Bottom line is this. It should be asking for reparations. You just saw what happened to um I'm doing my documentation right now. Can you get my thing together? Let me get my stuff out. We got all this stuff going on right now with I do. I love making them mad too, because I deal with it. And people don't understand that on this channel, just because I have humor and just because I joke around, it don't mean that I don't get hit with trolls and people. I do. I might not face it all the time. I can take that back. I face it quite a bit. Especially when I talk about uh, they should ban weaponry and stuff. I catch a whole lot. Anybody who follows me knows I do. Oh yeah. We never was American first. You gotta ask your ancestors about that, my friend. See, we got the names from because we never been invited. You know what? And I'm gonna address that real quick. Hold on for a minute, T Dub. Kevin kind of doing good, but like I said, postseason, they look good and they can shut everybody up. Reggie Brooks. Brooks is the reason why you should see what's going on in the news with Mr. Brooks and the assault that went on. That was embarrassing. Um, because in the states, my friend, you put you didn't claim a see. African Americans in America have white cousins, and you know how that is. Everything's been mixed around and done everything. So if you do your history and your due diligence, you won't come after me. You will talk about history, which predates me. You know, how is it that when you can sit here and ask, well, why is this when they had colored water fountains, separate swimming pools, separate entrances to the movie theaters? I have an uncle of mine. And if he ever came live, I'd bring him here. But you probably wouldn't be enlightened and educated enough to appreciate what he could just break it down to you. I'm one generation removed from family members who had to walk across the street while black, literally, couldn't be in certain schools and places and so on and so forth. So please, that's what you're not getting. I don't know how old you are. I don't know where you come from, but you need to go talk to your ancestors before you come to me. Ask them. Ask them. Ask them how come black people aren't American first. Ask them. And I mean some of your real old school relatives. Ask them. And don't give me the excuse, it ain't changed now. How's it changed? How has it changed? Pardon me, wasn't Obama the first black president in 2008? How's it changed? Because you still going by first. See, you're not even understanding, comprehending. We're still dealing with first. We talk sports sometimes. We had two black head coaches, black quarterbacks facing the Super Bowl. We're still dealing with black first. We are still Black History Month, not concluded in totality with American history because it's seen as like an offshoot. When you look at the voting landscape, it is divided. It is a conquer. You know, I wish people come in and who are smart and enlightened would say to you, like, look, the people that are divisive, don't have a problem at all because they know exactly, what's up. Ain't nothing changed now. They still operating off the same old thing. If they were so American first, then why they still got slave masters on American dollar bills? I want some crickets. I don't see Aretha Franklin on no money. I don't see Michael Jackson on money. Obama ain't made no coin yet. And that was written and done because of what exactly? You can't call someone a freedom fighter when you didn't build your legacy off of enslavement. You're gonna come out of pocket anyway. Because I'm sure you didn't heard about Vivi Ramsey and Elon Musk. They're siding with Trump to bring in people to do your jobs. Because you're lazy and don't really do nothing. So before you get mad at me, thank your dear old president and his buddies. Because just what you said is what you're gonna do. And let's see how smart you are now. Because that's what's in store. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see what smart remark you got to come back with that. You thought you were going to hit me with that, and I hit you with something that, yeah. And the funny part about it is this: that last statement is exactly what Vivek, Vinny Ramsey, and Musk and Trump are doing. Because you're going to pay out of pocket. All right. I don't know who you are. What's happening? The news flash is alive and well. Where you coming from? Thank you, Ted, because I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Stuff be comedy. All right, New York. All right. What's going on with you? What part of New York are you coming from? Because I want to get your thoughts about Brother Brooks and that travesty that happened. Okay. So you got a lot of thoughts and takes about what happened with Brother Brooks, and I watched that. Hmm. But see, they so busy talking about Puffy every day, but they downplaying Puffy now, and they're focusing on, you know, when you're in New York and you say Uptown, I know exactly the guy. Yeah. Well, Macy Correctional Facility. Yeah. Yeah, that whole thing with 50. Excuse me. As usual, avoiding questions and answers. And if you ain't going to answer what I said above, then I'm not going to really waste my time trying to. Well, why don't you tell them how you feel? I can mention a lot of frauds that associate with your situation. Lots of them. Ted, who said we don't get political up in here? All I was, you know, well, he wasn't a draft dodger. He wasn't a draft dodger. That's all I can say. Makes no difference where you get your piece of paper from. You can do what you want if you got the circumstances for the circumstances. It's still complexion for the protection. That's how it always ends up being anyway. All right. Well, we are live today. I tell you, man, what a way to start the new year. You know, If I thought he was even worth half of a conversation, I might have talked about him, but no one's gonna remember JD Vance. He bought his bought and paid for his Mike Pence, and actually Pence had more credibility, even though he sold his soul, and that's the sad part. They have no, they have no authority, authenticity at all. Just bought and paid for. Hmm. Somebody was messing with the triggers. Yeah, if you're on here, please continue to hit the like and subscribe. And we're having a very lively debate. Very lively. What a way to start the new year off. Get some real interesting people. I don't really talk about Umar Johnson per se, out of respect. Some things I agree with him on, some things I don't. He has some interesting points. Elijah Muhammad was a very intriguing man. Very intriguing. And it cuts in different ways. Um, not for a half. They should play him for at least a half. The last time they played New England, they should have lost that game. So I would definitely play him for at least the first half because they look pretty flat against the Patriots. And that same Patriots team that came back home and the Chargers roasted their behinds, I'd be a little. Bills got to do something about sitting up against the run. Oh, I agree with that. I agree with that. If they look at you, they got words for you they can't figure out. Definitely, you are doing something right. Because when they like you too much, history says, well, we're not going to go there because a lot of everything that was built in the country was original Diddy. And if you thinking that Diddy is the only fish on the pond, I got some gold to sell in your backyard, and I don't even know where you live, but I can sell it to you. And believe me, Diddy is a small fish on a deep pond. It's just that he upset the apple cart when he went after the liquor company. That's the only reason why his behind is where he is. They all thank you. Thank you. And he's just a small fish. A small, small fish. If you know your history. Because a lot of people don't know their history. He's not next. He ain't got no money. And and the thing is, he's telling stories, but he's not a threat. No, I'm gonna tell you who's next. Jay-Z, Beyonce, and keep your eye on Snoop. He ain't learned how to keep his mouth shut with that liquor. Biggie didn't teach him the streets though, because that's a very complicated situation. Diddy got his game from Clive Davis in the industry and also from Andre Harrell. Oh yeah, good point, Ted. Because now Capper got complexion for the protection. Ain't nothing gonna happen to him. That's why he gonna marry that girl off. He gonna stop at 25, even though he don't want to, because usually if you get 25, you become a grandma to him. But they gonna stop him there, and it'll fester over. LeBron gotta be careful because they're gonna try to get him into early retirement. Don't be surprised if the Lakers tank, he starts to stink, and he considers retiring after next year, and then he gets into ownership. Because that's the only thing that Adam Silver can do to say, okay, get you out before it gets too deep. Because all your buddies are gonna go to court and you're gonna have to testify. And we can't mess up this image. We got this money. If you know Leonardo DiCaprio, it's like Menudo, the group. Once you get 25, he done with you. That's his track record. Look it up. That's his track record. It wasn't no different than Charlie Chaplin, who I did like Chaplin a lot, but I'm just keeping it 100 though. That ain't nothing new. I know. Well, Leonardo got rid of Gisela too. That's what you're seeing right before you arrive. HS is bringing facts. They give you so much rope. Hmm. Leonardo ain't gonna go down. And let's keep it 100. Ain't no white guy gonna go down for no brother. Unless, of course, he tells the truth. And even then, he ain't going down. You ain't never seen it happen. You ain't never. What was it? The runner for Diddy? They gave him a plea deal. Telling you. He sure did. That's why he's pretty meek right now. He wasn't, I'm not gonna say he was broken. We understand that. However, just because you see some other people do stuff doesn't mean that you take part, but you wrote the rules. Now, you enhance the rules and you benefited from the rules. I'm gonna sit there and say, hey, because you made people feel inferior. Um, Kyrie still got his soul, but people turn on him big time. Shaq, Charles, Kenny, Reggie, a lot of people turned on him, sold him out. So it's okay. You always get somebody who likes to troll and start flames. They got nothing else but to do. This feels like higher learning. This is that Michael Rappaport story. This might be my Rappaport in disguise. See, you can sit here and say, yeah, and we've been our own worst enemy. But at the same time and token, you benefit from it and you feel inferior. And the disdain and the language and the tone. Oh, yeah, we do. We do. We do. We do some water. Kyrie didn't really become that bad, though. But I like Kyrie. I gotta get some water after all this tight conversation going in ways I didn't expect. Well, that's a compliment. I like Picasso. I ain't got no problem with Kyrie. Kyrie's biggest problem has been on the basketball court with me because I don't think we always get the totality of him. He's a great talent, not a leader. And it messed up in Brooklyn. It didn't really work in Boston. And Dallas is his real last strong shoot to do his thing. He said he could. He didn't say he going to. He ain't gonna play no 5-7. He'll be out. I give him after next year. He ain't playing no 7 years. He can't play no defense now. He'll barely be walking in two. If I'm Anthony Davis, if I'm Anthony Davis and I get some mess like that, I want out like tomorrow. And it's already the next year. He's not in no MVP consideration. So stop that. Thank you. He sure can't. Don't say anything false, Carter. He's not. He's not the best player on his own team. Okay. That's Luca. But neither one of them is distinctive enough to really run that team. Neither one of them is seeing Shea Alexander. That's his fault. You get traded for Cat and you were in New York and you played in LA, you in two major markets and they already want you out. That's because you're a problem. That's on him. I like Julius Randle, but he think he more than he is. He's got the Lulu. Not really. Not really. It's not the way it once did because the sport doesn't have any soul. It's soul is soul. You gotta have something that people want. He's not going senile. He doesn't have anything to work with. They do entertain. That's what all it comes down to. That's a good part. That's the point I'm trying to make people who try to come in here and say, "But we owe and all that," when you don't control it. It's just in disarray right now. They're just a bottom feeder team that looks like a playing tournament. The NFL though knows how to manipulate and has a monopoly on mediocrity. And they've been able to compartmentalize in a way that they can take the flaws and the fundamentals and make them look good. The NBA can't. That's what the NFL's got going for it. Yeah. It's a tokenism. It's not really much what you think. And he is not, again, it's little shares, nothing like that. And because that's what the media, it's just like the BB King clubs. That's all it is. It's just like we attach your name to it. You ain't there cutting no checks. And you gotta put it and I think if you know anything about ownership, it costs billions of dollars before they even interest in have you come to the table, and they can still tell you no, which they do. There've been black folks since the '70s trying to buy into pro sports and got vetoed. Oh yeah, well, because people are gullible. Because this is why we get people who think, well, you got those rappers and these players getting paid and all that, and then what happens? The reality is they're not owning nothing. No board of directors. Who? You might get a sprinkle. You ever go to an ice cream place and you get a sprinkle? You get like a little sprinkle. You had like a confetti cake and you put a little sprinkle. That ain't like being ice cream. You sprinkle. Sprinkles and the ice cream is two different things. I can sprinkle. So there's a long ways, but it's done like that on purpose. That's why who runs everything matters. And all you have to do is look at who runs everything in DC to Hollywood and the sports world. It's all connected. What that mess on here. He got to coach. He got to own what team in Charlotte? That's not exactly a hotbed. Now, yes, I'm gonna say this. He was flawed as an owner and he didn't couldn't get the product, but he wasn't going to get the promotion to get great players there. They weren't going there. The thing is, they get told to go to LA. They get told to go to this place or that place. They don't go to Charlotte. So that's one thing. And let me tell somebody this too. He made billions of dollars for Nike. He brought all that notoriety to the Chicago Bulls. The owner didn't give him a piece of nothing. He had a token piece of ownership with the Washington Wizards he had to give up when he decided to play. So he did get hustled a lot of times. Things are a lot not as quite as they seem. But the Hornets are a tax write off. They got, he didn't throw him under no bus. And whoever you are, Drake 213, I'm not gonna stand for no trolling. Okay. He never threw Scottie Pippen under the bus. He was a better player than Scottie Pippen was. He told the facts. It was cold, but it was the factual in the last dance. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I like HS bringing all these facts. The way the business operates is like this. They have people who conglomerate upon conglomerate, and they're able to rebuild different things over and over and over again. And they get to recycle coaches and owners and different parts. So that's how it goes. I can't really find too much fault. I mean, I like Nick. I can't really say. You know, it's all tied to the money. Nick didn't really bop. Nick was all right. I just think that he didn't get enough out of his teammates to win. I think that's the only thing I could say on the court. I can't say anything about improvements personally. Kobe got all his instincts from Jordan. He was a walking, talking clone early on. Only thing with Kareem was he could be aloof, but as a player, he covered all the bases. I'm not gonna diss him. That's HS bringing facts. She's your typical having fun owner. She's busy selling the merch. She's what they want. You know, I think that she obviously, I don't know who she's listening to as far as some of the plays and movements go, but it's obviously seems to be going in ways that's made for TV. It's making money and interest. That's what it's about. It's kind of like a Jerry Jones thing. He was average with the Wizards. I'm tired of talking about that. He was average with the Wizards. He didn't play them. I've done quite a few videos on it. And uplifting capacity. He did not play Scotty and Ryan Starr. Ryan Starr was the owner and Scotty was the teammate. Who came out and lied about the Central Park Five, Tommy? Hmm? Hmm? Anyway, I am almost getting tired of troll day. This is becoming like a bit much. I got some jive turkey that's gonna keep on doing stuff just to say stuff. And we're gonna remove that. We're going to get that out of here. As many things have gone on. I'm not gonna keep on with this though. You are trolling. I've already made my points and I've already defended, and you have not answered anything or asked anything. So I'm not going to waste my time. I'm not Stephen A. Smith. I'm more authentic than Stephen A. Smith. And I'll ask my partner on here, Ted, if he thinks I'm more authentic than Stephen A. Smith, give me a one. If you don't think so, give me a two. I speak my mind. I don't. I don't care for Stephen A. Smith. To me, he tries too hard to appeal. Um, he um, it is trolling because I made valid points. I don't answer questions with questions. Let me ask Ted the question. When Tommy has approached me, have I answered him directly? Give me one if you think I have. Give me a two if you think I haven't. Well, of course you will, because you came in here to troll yourself. You came in here talking about Michael Jordan put Scottie Pippen on the bus, which is a lie. He carried that man. Now, you might not like how the last dance went. You might disagree with Jordan's coldness and tactics, but who was the best player on those Bulls team? And if you're not old enough to remember and you've only seen the video, you can leave the room now because I was there to see it. And I can tell you firsthand what I know, and I ain't got to make it up. And I'm not even the biggest Jordan fan. Now, that's a troll right there, and you got to go. Not no hot seat for me because a hot seat means that I'm feeling pressured. There is no pressure. Michael Jordan was a great player. I brought up the Central Park Five to the Duke lacrosse questions because there was a certain person who's selected to represent the country that wanted to bring presentable charging instead. And the Central Park Five proved themselves, and they have a lawsuit case pending now for their false mass incarceration. Duke Lacrosse didn't ever had to go do any time. See, that's the point. Also, could mention that false acquisition in Boston in 1989 when the man unalived his pregnant wife and said it was black men who did that. That situation. I can mention Susan Smith back in 1994 with the cars and the children and blaming. I can go there because black folks do commit and say false things. However, does it cost you a lifetime? Does it cost you? What about Carol Bryant, who lied about Emmett Till? She got to live the rest of her life out. She never got tapped and touched upon. There's the difference. See, I'm not gonna say black folks don't do crimes and don't do things wrong, but you're trying to generalize. Your generalization is trying to put down black folks to upfire what I'm saying about past facts that are actual and factual. You can't possibly say in the 60 years that because they put a Bill of Rights and say that all of a sudden you can vote and you can go to work and you can marry who you want, so on and so on, that all of a sudden that you got rights, and you're going to omit people who are 80 and 100 years old, and that didn't count before from 63 on back. That's why I'm calling cap on you, and I don't appreciate people of your ilk because you don't be educated and enlightened enough to have conversations on said topics without trying to instigate and pontificate and don't have that happen. Michael Jordan played in the 90s. Clyde Drexler played in the 90s. Dominique Wilkins played in the 90s. Hakeem Olajuwon played in the 90s. Are you just dumb or just ignorant with this? Shaquille O'Neal played in the 90s. What you want to do? That will go. Okay. I'm not saying anything to say nothing. I'm speaking on facts. And see, when we talking facts, I'm talking facts. You tell me 1963 back, you know. Uh, my biggest knock against Magic, of course, is his fakery with how he's always ha 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 in LA and he always trying to hype up LeBron and try to hype up Jordan. He's always slurping and everybody's all good and everybody's all he never gives real talk. Except when he mad, if you messing with his money. Thank you, Ted, because it's getting tiring. And when I have conversations with people, I like to stick to the points of we're talking about history. I mentioned 1964 with the Bill of Rights, 65 voting rights, 67 who you could marry. This has all happened in the last 60 years. And people somehow got this think, well, see, except the country is over through 300 years old, you know. So how does it all come into place in the view? Can you even have a discussion, a conversation? You can have a discussion, a conversation. There we go. If you can't, that's on you. Sure do. But can't have no conversation when you bring it back. I'm not gonna sit here and say that that black girl wasn't wrong with the Duke thing and she shouldn't have not been dealt with. But was Carolyn Bryant dealt with about Emmett Till when they made movies, when they made documentaries, when they showed that Emmett Till was taken before his time and they messing with his grave site and his tombstone, his mother never got justice, his family never got justice, and he was falsely accused of whistling at a white woman. And what happened? But no one wants to talk about that. And you know what's such a trip? You know what's such a trip? To have relatives who were around that time, who said, "Yes, I remember Emmett Till's situation. And yes, I can see a Jerry Jones looking at black children trying to go to schools, and he's standing there like, and no one wants to talk about it. They want to make, and for that person that said that Stephen A. Smith, don't insult me like that. But Stephen A. Smith will sit there and ruffle and shine and grin for Jerry Jones. I will never do that. Appreciate you, Ted. That's what I'm talking about. See, that's what I'm talking about. And that was horrific. And I will tell anybody who comes here right now, he predated me by almost 20 years, age wise. But when I see his face, his figure, and the casket, what his mother did, it's the most haunting thing that I ever seen in my life. So even though Emmett Till, and when people love to say that wasn't my generation, but it wasn't mine. However, his imagery stayed with me. And I'm claiming Emmett Till. Yes. And I'm claiming it. I'm claiming him. And if anybody don't like it, tough. That man never got no justice. And I ain't seen Joe Biden. Me too. I ain't seen Joe Biden, Trump, Obama, Clinton, none of them acknowledge it. And they not going to. Because if they did, they'd have to tell the truth. And if they tell the truth, they may not have their little prestiges and they may not be able to do what they do, which is lie all the time about race relations in America. Because they never want to tell the truth. They never want to tell the truth. And Emmett Till will shake you to the core if you've got a soul. If you don't, you'll shrug it off. It is very emotional. All right, let me see. See if I want to bring this turkey back. They knew better than that. They did what they wanted to do because they felt like they could. That's what that was about. Well, we got heavy in here today, I tell you. Woo. A black man. Yeah. What's your Colin Kaepernick comment? I'm not avoiding nothing with Cap because Cap got his job taken away for reasons that he had nothing to do with. They took that man's livelihood. And I'm gonna always say that. And when they put signs before it, see, this is the problem I have. You have such an issue with Cap, but why you still got stop racism, choose love, and everything in the end zone in 2025 as we talking today? Watch an NFL game and don't see if it still ain't there 5 years later. But yet you ran this man away. Even Roger Goodell said this man should not have been ran away. Why is that? He could still had another job. Oh, so Blaine Gilbert. You're gonna tell me that Colin Kaepernick couldn't still get a backup job today? They brought Joe Flacco back, who beat him in the Super Bowl, but you're gonna tell me that Cap couldn't get a job right now? You bring Joe Flacco? Joe Flacco's still playing, right? Oh, well, Patrick Mahomes, 3 Super Bowls, 4 Super Bowl appearances, 3-time Super Bowl MVP, 2-time league MVP, stands out. And black quarterbacks been dominating the last 15 years. And Patrick Mahomes got him scared because he's in Joe Montana, Tom Brady territory. Sorry. Aaron Rodgers, you're not Patrick Mahomes. Sorry, Peyton Manning is retired. Sorry, Big Ben, you're not Patrick Mahomes. Hate to break the news to you, but Patrick Mahomes is more closer to the title of being in there with Brady and Montana because they are faster. What does that mean? I don't know what he did. He was taking a knee before they even brought the attention. They brought the attention through the media. He did. he had. He's doing children's books with his girlfriend. He has actually donated money to stand up for your rights. If you did some research instead of running at the mouth, you see he's been doing quite charitable work. He's not wasting his money. He's still keeping himself in shape, and he still is representing. He spoke out on something that need to be spoke out about. I know one thing, the 49ers seem like they're cursed after the karma that their karma from Cap is real. They haven't been able to finish and do much without him. They tried to downplay him with Jimmy G and with Purdy, and they've choked. He is speaking out on something that needs to be dealt with. That's why they still got logos and signs in the NFL to today. They don't give out MVPs, you earn them. Lamar Jackson has earned his. Now you can pick on him in the postseason if you want to. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. They did, and they've been playing ball. But the problem is that the forces don't shut up, and they don't play ball. Thank you. Now I'm going to take him out of here for good. Thank you. He's gone now. That's the last straw. I'm done with that. Thank you. That had to go. Anybody else want to join them? You're next. Serve you up. Thank you, Ted. That's all I was waiting for was someone to say the magical word. That's just what I got to deal with. I'm not the only one. And you ain't never hear me say he didn't. Now he's got to. I'm gonna say this. He got to play better in the postseason if he wants to be on the same level as Patrick Mahomes. But notice what I said on the same level of Mahomes. I didn't say the same level as Joe Burrow. I didn't say the same level as Josh Allen. I said Patrick Mahomes. If you want to be the best, you got to beat the best, like Ric Flair used to say. Woo! Notice what I said. Even as a Bills fan, I'm going to concede Mahomes is the standard. Okay? Black man is the standard. I know some people going to say, well, he's half this and the curl. No, that's right. You going to beat the man, you got to beat the man. When you ain't beating the man, you ain't. Lamar is going to, he got to do something because he's going to be like a James Harden to Mahomes and Steph Curry. So I'm just saying. But that's how it's got to be. Anyway, we back to regular talking now. I'm gonna make these next 40 minutes go good because I don't be dealing with no one that's just gonna be hating and saying stupid stuff just to hear themselves get a rise out. But when I put it on the podcast, you can watch the replay of all the antics of some people come through here who just find a need to be so negative and they want to set off stuff that really doesn't need to be set off. But it's fine. I guess it does need to be set it off. Anyway, thank you for all the people that are on here today. And please feel free to comment, hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit the poll. 84% said no, I don't have no New Year's resolution plan. Okay, that's cool. We've been so busy talking. Poll is going good. I might have to come back tomorrow. Definitely this weekend. I'm doing at least 3 lives in a week. That's the plan. I don't think you asked me this before, but it's it ain't changed. Ain't like I went to sleep and changed, but Red Auerbach, Phil Jackson, Pat Riley, Greg Popovich. That's four. Who would be number five? Hmm. I either said Red Holtzman of the Knicks or Casey Jones. That's it. Because once I get past the main four, it's debatable after that. No, he's not my top five. He ain't win enough. So when I mention Auerbach, Phil, Riley, Pop, them four were dominant for long periods of time. Larry, it's a window, which I like, but Larry is kind of like I know it's kind of hard to put in perspective. I guess it's kind of like if you ask me about Bill Parcells as NFL coach. That's kind of how I would put it. He belongs amongst the greats. However, somebody from his tree could surpass him. So, your time. Yeah, because he let Robert Ory do that dunk. And why you let Robert Ory beat you? Mm, that was not a good look. And then, of course, that's why they let him go. And I told you before, he good for a 3 or 4 year window, and that's what ended up happening. No, yeah, yeah, yeah. Because Flip Saunders took over them. And Miami beat them next year. And I'm not gonna lie, when Flip Saunders took over, rest in peace, I knew the Heat were gonna win because Flip wasn't quite as intense as Larry. He was a good coach, really good, but I felt like we got Larry Brown out of here. That's I ain't gonna lie. 'Cause Larry Brown, you knew you had to deal with that. hmm Except when he went to New York. I told you, Larry Brown is like Buck Showalter, but with a ring, kind of like Parcells, except he got the win. Same, the fiery coach. Sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. All right, keep on going now. Had a nice fiery conversation today, boy. Woo. You know, why you being a journalist if you can't have criticism? People get after Shannon Sharp and Stephen A, and I do, especially Stephen A, for grandstanding and not speaking on nothing. But they spoke the truth about old old Day. Good and well. I did my video day about Michigan beating Alabama, and yeah, I'm very happy about that. Even though I'm disappointed the Wolverines could actually play a more legit bowl. But anyway, you know good and well if you coach Ohio State, if you don't do, if you know you're gonna get fired, right? But if you don't go but 1-11, you better make that one against Michigan. You better. You know what I'm saying? See, I got old school mindset. As a Yankee fan, I don't care as long as we're here to Boston. We can stink, but we're here to Boston. Anytime I don't like, um, no, you're not the only one. I mean, they're making it more where the quarterbacks have more time. They've made it more offensive. They've taken a lot of the defense out because with the runs, with the plays, so it's a lot of syncopation that they're doing it. They want to build an audience. No, you're not the only. It's still fast, but cats still get hit, but it's not the way you remembered it. Mm-mm. It's done in a way where it's technical for the eyesight. That's good observation though. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. That's a good observation. Thank you for coming through with that. It's done in a way to make it more homogenized. I mean, come on now, when you see all these teams that has got 10, 11 losses, it's not by accident. I do too. Except you gotta have a heck of an offense to pull it off. You can. You can do it. We're in an era today. I don't know why everybody almost don't do it. Because if you play with Baltimore, you play with Cincinnati, you play with Buffalo could do it. 49ers could do it. Kansas City could do it. If you have a mobile quarterback, you're flexible. Hey, Reed. I like Woodson a lot, but hey, Reed, man. Yeah, Reed read things. His reading was incredible. Woodson had incredible athleticism and speed, but Ed Reed could read that thing. I agree though about the curb Herb Street though. He gonna be on his best behavior. Run a lot, man. Cause before there was Dion, that was the norm. Hit you, knock you butt, and send a message. A lot really cared a lot. What's the wow? Did I pick Ronnie Lott? Ronnie Lott was a bad dude. I like Ed Reed a whole lot, but Ronnie Lott cared a lot. I remember he didn't play with no. He had no. He had no. He had no. Um. Ray Lewis. Shoot, Ronnie was like Ray Lewis and Ed Reed in combined. He was great for his era. There's different eras to this. So that 49ers team 40 years ago was 18-1, and they stopped Miami and Marino and the Marx brothers. You want me to? Do I need to get technical when I make my picks? I ain't stud. I still what I said. Ed was great with Ray Lewis and when they ran, but running Lott, what they did 40 years ago doesn't get talked about enough. All right, 40 years ago around this time when they beat Miami in that Super Bowl. No one talks about it. That's why it's wild for you because no one talks about it. Remember, they shut the Marx brothers down and Marino, but no one's going to tell you that. Their whole styling was a pre drip before what the Bears did, except the Bears got all the notoriety. They had the original fridge. If you look at that video of the inner city playoff game against the Bears, they had their own version of the fridge before that. They did everything before Chicago did. You can actually sue Mike Dicker and the Bears for copyright infringement, except Montana was 15 times better than Jim McMahon would ever be. Roger Craig was, I'm just saying. For me, Marino. Because they lacked a lot of. Peyton was a better mentalist, but Marino's arm release, his skill set, and let him play in Peyton Manning's era, he's got 2 rings. What's happening? How you doing, Tom? Great to have you. I I respected Peyton's talent. Don't get me wrong; he could play, but Marino did. Marino just beat you with a quick gut. That was the thing. Manning played off the defense. Marino beat you with a quick gut. I have not seen anyone else who had a release like him. I think Howie Long was talking about it. That's why when people have him listed as one of the 10 greatest quarterbacks, Happy New Year to your time as well. When they have him listed as one of the 10 greatest quarterbacks, what's that tell you about Dan Marino? Come on, Ted, let's talk. What's that tell you right there? Because most of the time we got to talk about Mahomes with a bunch of rings and Brady with a bunch of rings and Montana with a bunch of rings. Aaron got a ring. Uh, 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 Elway got rings. Manning got ring. What's that tell you about little Dan Marino with no ring, but he's in the mix with all those guys? What's that tell you? Think about it. I ain't making it up. That's how good he was. And he would be scary if he played today. And if they moved him out the AFC East like they did Peyton Manning, gave him that old cushy AFC South, you think I don't remember that 20 years ago when Chad Pennington tore that behind up? Yeah, except still predominantly black receivers are still considered more dominant. And still more brothers are dominant with the running game. Because Christian McCaffrey aside, who you can call the Eminem of running backs, but everybody else is better that's black. And Saquon Barkley got a chance to break the record. And you still got the likes of Derrick Henry and Jonathan Taylor and Jacobs and Jones. So what else is there? There's only one for that. And as far as the receivers go, we know who runs it. Oh yeah, Sean was bad. Probably left a couple, but again, they weren't. They some of it was his doing, and some of it was the coaching. As much as I like um, Tomlin, sometimes he got out coaching a couple games. It happens. It happens. You know, it's a lot that has to happen to make things work. They couldn't beat Baltimore for a few of those years. They lost to Jacksonville a couple years. New England was there. There was always something, and sometimes it was just him not being totality of that dude. Yeah, he has a tendency to do that. That's one of the pet peeves against Tomlin. When he likes somebody, he tends to kind of rub a dub a dub. I do get it because AB was a special player. And like my Jimmy Johnson said, you don't treat everybody the same. But sometimes it can be at the detriment of your team. But Tomlin still gets my nod as, the second best coach after Andy Reid today because nobody else could do that. Oh, yeah. I was also trying to tell Ted about him. Shoot, Marino, shoot, when you talk about the greatest quarterbacks ever, his name gonna be you're gonna hear his name mentioned more than Aikman, more than Bradshaw, guys who got tons of rings. He did because he was a legit quarterback because you could win with him. What would you be stuck with him or would you go bail him out for Rudolph? And that's why Tomlin's a great coach because look at what he didn't put as product he's been stuck with to work with. Not exactly guys that that was one of the most gangsterous plays ever. That was cold. And that showed you how talented he was. Even Peyton Manning didn't even have a fake move like that. Mahomes ain't came up with a fake like that was back in the day. Marino was bad. I give him all the love now because he gone. Well, when I was a Bills fan, I was petrified of him. That dude, man. You put him with Waddle and Hill today, put him with them today. And look, it ain't even up for discussion. And they may still make the playoffs as we speak right now. Need a little help. Machine Gun was bad, you know, very, and again, they didn't have um Josh Allen's mobile ability to run, but he did the arm, but he got stuff done. He got stuff done. He was a threat. I just think sometimes that he tried to do too much sometimes, you know. Sometimes you try to do too much. That's the only knock I can say. W People in the know. People in the know, but he ain't getting in. He ain't gonna get in. Should though, but it's politics. It's always something going on. Well, I ain't gonna say that. I mean, he's not better than Patrick Mahomes, so let's not get it twisted. Because Mahomes is doing everything that's a once in a lifetime. Depends on who you take it, who I'm taking him over. I'll take him over quite a few, but how would I put him against Mahomes? No. Would I take him over Lamar Jackson? Talent wise, I say yeah, but it's neck and neck. That's pretty neck. That's tough. It all depends because they couldn't have no more use for him because he wasn't going to be a top tier player anymore. That's why I let him go. Tally was the truth, but again, he's a victim of the fact they didn't win. If they'd have won one Super Bowl, it'd have been hard for them not to acknowledge him. That's what they use against him. Different era. And he played today, he'd be even 5 times bigger. Talking about Tally. Different era. Don Beebe, I liked him a lot. I liked him a lot. Tasker too. Yeah, let's see on there was tight. It's true. You mentioned some legit people. If I mentioned legit folks, just a different era though. But yeah, I mean, definitely on point. They were good. I don't know about Stack. We were good. I mean, I think you can make a case for Lamar to an extent. To an extent, because remember, if Lamar wins a Super Bowl ring, that's some unique special category there. So I'm just saying. Josh Allen, the jury's out how far he goes. How he stack up against Marino, it all depends on how far he goes. That's a debatable one. And the other person that's debatable would be obviously Joe Burrow. I'm a firm believer Joe Burrow could have played in any era with the right coach system. He'd have won a ring or two. It's just that where he's at right now. Mahomes is seen as a standing because of where his success is. And I got Marino. That's the only one. But it is comparable. It'd be interesting with Lamar, Josh, and Burrow. Lofton was a bad boy in Green Bay. Crazy hand, crazy wheels. Yeah, he was. He was. And he could whip out there too. He was one of the smoothest I seen. One of them. Yeah, I know what you mean. He fit like a glove back then. It was all right. I mean, they had a very talented team, you know. It's just that in the Super Bowl, Dallas was a better talent. Washington was the most physicalist team we played of the four trips. And the Giants, they just put a clinic on how to dismantle you. So that was it, really. It was the way we lost those Super Bowls. That's all. But again, it was a different era, though. Well, because they want a quarterback to win. And they want to create a rivalry with this is what it's about. You do understand this ain't just about I ain't got no problem with Josh win, but I want y'all to hear me out. This a political agenda too. Are you not watching? They need Josh to win. They need a Larry Bird. Magic. They need a Caitlin Clark Angel, even though it's not really like that in the sense that Josh ain't, but they need this narrative. You do understand there is a lot more going on. It ain't just, and I ain't got no problem if Josh did win, but I think Saquon should get more of a nod because I know how hard it is to be a running back to getting it. And you doing something special and unique. Yeah, that's where I'm going at in here. Come to my live stream if you want me to be uncut and tell the old truth. And we talk here for people who can have adult conversations and get real. We get real in here. The Washington loss hurt because that was the least talented team we played, but they put a spanking on the Bills. They beat them up. That's what made that one the worst. The speed was superior. They got out at you, and they had top tier play, and they were well coached and a well oiled machine. That's why Aikman and Irvin and Emmett and was so sad about Jimmy Johnson leaving because they were, and Haley, they were a well oiled machine. They were very uh distinctive, you know. They could beat you in different ways. Yeah, well, there's some truth to that, but then, with Josh Allen, there is politics involved. Because we talk about it here. I mean, there is some truth that some folks are tired of all these black guys winning all this MVP in the NFL. And it ain't gonna happen in the NBA. Okay. Of course I remember him. But Riggins was long gone when they beat us. But as a matter of fact, when they spanked Denver's behind, the wheels went off, and then you go to the Super Bowl against us with Mark Rippon. They was, they were. I mean, the offensive line was gold. The defense was gold. They had everything that you'd want. You know, he did blow it, and that's how tough it is because you think you're going to get back there, and then 30 years later, you don't, and all you got is faint memories, and you haven't been even close to what you were. You've had some good quarterbacks, but you haven't been anywhere near to what you were. And there's a big difference when you dominate and when you're just one of a good team. You see how that works? It's a difference when you dominant and then when you're just another good one in the bunch. Because when you're just another good one in the bunch, you're just as lucky as can be. So Riggins was a beast back in the day. And when he ran that ball against Miami, he was the beast back in the day. I was a bad dude. They were big. They're good for humor. And we're looking forward to when they blow up against each other because we know it's only going to be a matter of time. It's too much ego. They good for entertainment. If you got popcorn, bottled water, and you got nothing to do, they're entertaining. If you're asking me, are they good for anything beyond? Of course, they're going to clash. But see, Trump can't say nothing because he got that money. That's how he got hooked up. He got hooked up. That's why Musk is kicking it at Mar-a-Lago right now as we speak, getting room service, all kinds of service. He ain't going to though. He's gonna go out on his own terms, and that's the hard reality. He's going. If you're a Cowboys fan, that's just the sad reality that you're gonna face. That man ain't gonna go out. He thinks that he has to have a say over everything. That's why they behind got served against Philly the other day, and rightfully so. Got that butt blew out against the backup quarterback, who's the backup. And The thing about it is Philly didn't even unload him as bad as it could have been. Could have been way worse. So he won't sit down though. He knows no boundaries. And that's why they are where they are almost 30 years later. And you think about it, that's a whole lifetime. So the last time they've been to a Super Bowl. Well, y'all need to get some defense. Y'all get some parts. I don't know what you're going to get. I don't know. Well, Jerry Jones has been the way he is, and see, it worked for a window, but yeah, see how long ago that's been? And it might be another 37 years before they do, because they're not gonna win no Super Bowl with Dak. Sometimes you can see some things in the present and you can predict the future. They're not winning Jack with him or Cooper Rush or Meathead McCarthy. It's not gonna happen. Philadelphia is gonna be good for at least another what 5, 6 years with, Jason at quarterback and Jalen Daniels with Washington. Where you gonna get in between them two? As long as Jalen Hurt don't get hurt and he's good for another 4 or 5 years, where you getting in? Dak Jane Daniels gets better, 3 or 4 more. Where you getting in? You 10 years deep now. You ain't gonna be LeBron James, and they're gonna get your butt out of the next 3 or 4 years, if not sooner. So what are you gonna do? You're barely beating the Giants. You sure as heck ain't gonna be. You're not gonna be better than Green Bay. You ain't gonna be better than Detroit. Jared Goff got at least 5, 6 more. See, this is the problem that you run into. Goff's got like 5, 6, 7 in him. Hurts got 5, 6, 7 in him. Daniels got 5, 6, 7 in him. Donald might got 5, 6, 7 in him. See where I'm going with this? Jordan Love got 6, 7 in him. What are you gonna do? Everybody ain't gonna be Matthew Stafford. Stafford got at least a couple more in him. What you gonna do? So the pickings is slim. Okay. Thank you for hitting the like, subscriptions, and everything. Keep on coming. Keep on talking. Poll numbers are good. Likes are good. 70% say no. What about Jared Goff? Goff got about 6, 7 if he's healthy after this year. He got about 5, 6, 7 in. What I'm saying is there's no room for Dak. That's why Jerry Jones ain't seen another Super Bowl because the competition and what you got in the division and stuff, you're not getting over. Those teams are better and they got got good quarterbacks. They're not going to roll over. When Dallas was dominant in the 90s, that's back when Green Bay and Frisco, and that was it. Washington for a moment, New York, but it was just three teams. You got Philly and Washington, you got too much. Well, I mean, it's just the reality. So it could be a real long term. I think it is. Hmm. Well, in his defense, he got 3 chips. In his defense, he came up big and he did things his way. And let's be realistic. Arthur Blanks runs down to the Atlanta Falcons sidelines every time, hoping to rub that genie. It don't work. So I'm just saying. And then Daniel Snyder tried it. It didn't work. Just saying. You know. Well, one thing, and football's a tough game to dominate and win anyway, because name don't mean nothing. Mark Davis owns the Raiders from his dad, but they ain't helped nothing with the Raiders. They moved, they still garbage. So again, he in his defense for what he did at his time, but he's got to remember this ain't 89, 90. You ain't gonna use Herschel Walker like Kunta Kinte and spring up all these free agents. That's not happening again. This ain't gonna be no roots for you, pun intended to what Ted said. So yeah, good luck. Good luck with that. I don't think much is gonna come out of it, but good luck with that. So that's how I feel about it. Pretty much. And that's what they at. Who's a decent quarterback, who's pretty much on par with Tony Romo as far as stats. But and you could take the best of those two guys and you have one great quarterback, but you don't. And they're a step off. They get a nice receiver, comical at the run. You know, Rico is playing good at running back, but why did you bring Ezekiel Elliott back? He ain't even running his body weight for the whole season. That's embarrassing. So you took a major L there because no one respects your running game. So, in what universe? What universe? Josh Bockenford don't get the MVP this year. Josh been to an AC championship game. Do tell me what Dak Prescott has done. How many postseason wins does Josh Allen have? How many does Dak have? In what universe? That's exactly. Y'all sound like some trolls. I get rid of trolls. In what universe is he better? How is he better? What is he better at? Did you not see that game last year when they came to Buffalo and Josh ran all over him, beat him the last two times they played, beat him at his house and in Buffalo? Did you not witness that? Or am I hallucinating? What is Dak Prescott better than him? Ted, where are you at if you hear these comedians up here talking about Dak's more of a leader than Josh Allen? Where are these comedians? um, no, he didn't. I no, he was a great player his first 3 years. When he had that episode in Mexico, when he on a situation, he fell off. He got the money and then he became Bubba from Sanford and got fat. No, he was actually first 3 years, he was top tier. He looked like he was gonna be the next great behind Dorset, behind Emmett. But now he just fell off. Wasn't how his body took a he did take a beating, but it was also his own doing. He went to New England. What ring did he chase? And Jerry didn't want to do that, and he went to the Patriots and got skinny, and now he sucks. So what happened? Do tell me, because I watched him in New England with mac and cheese, and he lost all that weight, and he was, fresh and fitty, but they stunk. What? Who was going to give him to chase a ring? But where? Kansas City ain't call him up. Frisco ain't call him up. Who? Well, wow. They ain't got one more game in the season. Like they couldn't let him just play out. I mean, really? What took them so long? He been running his body weight for like 20 games. What was the final straw? Did he actually have a good a practice session? What made the change? I knew that wasn't gonna end well when they brought him back. Maybe they cut him and they said, well, we can tank and look bad for the last game. I don't know. I'm not even touching him no more because his career been over for basically 4 years, if you want my honest opinion. He been past the pull date for about. You ever go to the grocery store on the pull date, and yeah, his pull date was 4 years ago, and it's 2025 now. I ain't thought about Zeke as a legit back since pretty much 2020, 2021, if I'm honest. That's it. Anything over 2021, past the pull date. He been running like an old man, and he's almost 10 years into his career. He's got 9,000 career rushing yards. Does he get to 10,000 yards? I don't think so. Not at the rate he looked. If this year's an indication, it ain't gonna happen. So, well, they may as well go ahead and cut him now. I mean, because oh, he was, he was. I ain't gonna argue that. You want to throw that in my face? I know why you want to throw it in my face. I ain't mad. He was. If he's smart, he gets out because he's wasting away. I dare them compare him to Lawrence Taylor, and he is just not getting. Dallas is not good on defense. Got 41 up against the backup quarterback and went to Philly and got and dropped a donut and choked that game in Cincinnati. Oh man. He would want out if he was gonna go somewhere he could contend. He'd want to stay if it because of the name, but there is nothing there in Dallas. There's nothing there. But that'll be interesting call. He might stay. I wouldn't be surprised if he do. Because he strikes me as a company man. He likes to talk about the company, but yeah, he wants to be a company man. So I'll see. And he tends to run his mouth a lot and he underachieves. So we'll see. Yeah, if we could get rid of Von Miller and get him, I'd take him tomorrow. All due respect to Von Miller, but he washed. Parsons would come in immediately, and you might have a chance. And if they don't jump on him, Philly would. And if Philly don't, you know what that means. Kansas City would. Or somebody like the Chargers. It'd be something like that. But then again, I don't know if he's broken, if he's broken any promises with people. So we'll see. All right. I already did my Vaughn. I did my Slim Thug video, so you check it out. I talked about that already, amongst others. Yeah. hmm Yeah, I already said about Von Miller. And it's tough to say because I remember how dominant he was, but he came to Buffalo and he looked like he just basically playing to get his pension. That's what it looked like. Aside from a couple moments, he really ain't done much in Buffalo. We got him at and that's not no problem. He's still a first ballot Hall of Famer. He was great and dominant for his era. It's just that we got him a little too late. That's all. We got him about 2 or 3 years past the tooth, long in the tooth. It happens. All right. I got about another 10 more minutes on here, and then I'll probably, if everything goes all right. I do too, because that guy's too good to have to go home if they don't make the playoffs. And nobody wants to face him in the postseason. That dude is like that dude. He's like that bully. You don't want to deal with. He's gonna take your lunch. But problem is, the lunch he goes to take ain't nothing in there. In the injury, but like I said, he hit his peak in his window with Denver, and he hit with the Rams. And then you start to be that money for hire dude. You start to play the Ricky Henderson, rest in peace, Dennis Rodman, money for hire, great player, Deion Sanders role. But it's at the end. That's all. Except for one thing, Ted, they can put up 40, but they can give Kansas City 41, and then Mahomes goes and beats them again. You forgot that little part. You forgot the Kansas City 41 part because that's what they do. That's why they end up in a stew struggling to beat Denver when they should have waxed that behind and Bo Nixon went off in the second half. Can't trust them because the coach doesn't have no discipline. So that's everything. They're not going to change in the postseason, man. It's not happening. It was the postseason when that game against Denver, and they nearly blew that game. Nothing has changed with them. They still fundamentally flawed, and they are not going to. If you don't play no defense, you're going to get waxed early, and people are going to know that you soft. I'm just keeping it 100. That's the problem. So that's the problem they run into. They don't have the momentum. They ain't got no momentum. Kansas City got momentum right now. You see how Kansas City won them 3 games, and Mahomes was limping. That's momentum. You struggling against a team that you supposed to beat. That's not momentum. And who would have momentum out of Cincinnati and Miami right now? Because if Miami gets in the playoffs, you can say they got momentum too. Be very careful what you say about momentum. I'm watching. Kansas City looks like they got momentum and a chip on their shoulders too. Yeah, he's a good player. I like what he can do. I like what he can do. I like what he can do. Okay. I got another 5 more minutes, and I'll probably try to come back on tomorrow. You know, catch a little bit of ball. I'm so glad Michigan won our bowl game. Yes, Penn State won their bowl game. So James Franklin gets to, I don't know. James Cook is nice. Could have more if they don't let Josh Allen do so much. I mean, they got to utilize a lot. Again, they got to be just be smart. But I want to see how it unfolds in the postseason. I'm not going to say nothing. Yeah, well, why was he booed? Because he looked old. Is that why he was booed? Of course, he gonna look old. When you play against a team like Cleveland, who's got guards who can run by you, what you expect? Why they booing him for? They're the ones that keep bringing him back. Boo the owners. Well, they got a future. And I told you who I said was the most important Cavalier player because he knew he couldn't beat him. That's why. I mean, losing by 12 double digit points when it really wasn't that close. Well, what you expect? He can't will it like he once did. He's older. People got to get this out their head. You can switch teams and coaches and uniforms and hairline. Oh, never mind. They're not. He's not coming back to where he was 10 years ago. That's gone. So they got to get used to a lot of hard nights. But about that, hold on from. Well, Cleveland is doing good, and they got a chance to do something. So we'll see. I'm saying, which is true to that too, because he did add it. Yeah. You caught my one line. I throw a little zing in there. I make sure you're still awake. I'm notorious for throwing one liners in there. People watch my videos. They do comment on my humor. I do bring humor. It helps you on these YouTube streets, so that way you don't get in trouble too much. Or you can be funny because they can be funny. But anyway, you can be funny. You can throw one line in there. You can read between the lines. I watch how he throws the chalk up and his hair moves and he moves and all that. He is an old man. Shoot, most of these cats were in elementary school or junior high when he was playing. What's he expect? I see. I ain't see all that. The problem is this: Adam Silver can't carry his behind no more. I can give you 15 free throws, but this team's going to get 10. You're not good. You're not in. You're not in. And if you notice something, they don't get all. They get a lot more calls, but JJ Ridiculous doesn't get acknowledged like Darvin Ham did. Just saying. Ham got the free throw line. Just saying. But they're just not a good team. Fundamentally. You need a lot more pieces than what y'all gotta do. What you gotta do, you'd have to get a star player, not Zach Levine, not Brandon Ingram. I mean, a star player, big time player to complement LeBron and AD. That's what they're really howling for. And they can't, Rich Palinka can't do that. If John Morant wasn't a thug, they'd be like, okay, we could sit here. De'Aaron Fox is quick for them, and they were interested, but they'd have to get rid of you know who and you know who, and they're not gonna do that. They want to throw Gabe Vincent, a couple slices of pizza, and Jack Nicholson's seat on Tuesday night in there, and a draft pick. He'd be scary in Orlando. He'd be scary. That East would be real competitive. I'm telling you, it's what it would take. If I'm Orlando, I make that move. Because that's the only way if you're really serious about making a up. If you think that you want to be the OKC of the East, then you make that move. He'd be a great compliment over there. He would. Because we don't know how long Boston will be running things. And you got Cleveland up there. You know, you got about in New York's there. But everybody from four onward can be had. So it's open season. So, but yeah, I'm not surprised. LeBron crying, but look, your term's almost up, pal. It's almost up. You done good for what you did, but you got to go. And he ain't got the memo yet. So I got a couple more minutes before I go because it's gonna move me out after 2 hours. You know how it is when I do this thing. Definitely try to get back tomorrow. For what? There's plenty of 304s already. 304s don't trade for 304s and only fans. I'm just saying they gonna trade it too. Um, she ain't leaving LA. She probably would want to. There's gotta be a grind for her though. Cause what's she gonna do to compliment AD? You know, it's not my problem though. She ain't going nowhere though. But wishful thinking though. That they want to be taken serious. That somehow it's like, okay, I do this. Can you hear me? Give me one if you can hear me. Give me a one if you can hear me because he just did his thing. If you can hear me, I'll stay on for about 10 more minutes if you can hear me. If you can't, I'm going to have to cut it out. That's the 304 pet peeves. The chicks is that they want to be taken serious. The cats that do it get all sympathetic and all in their feelings. I'm like, you in a no feelings business. When you're 304, you ain't got no feelings. That's why you do 304. Why you get all feeling for? Can't be sensitive in 304. All right. If you can hear me, give me a one. Um, no more than women. No more than the women. Because that's why it's basically like the same equality then. If you 304, you both in the same patty. Y'all stay in the same boat. Y'all hoping that springs eternity. So, you're in the same boat. That's how I look at it. Okay. Give me a one if you can hear me. And if you can't, let me know. Because I'm not getting any questions right now. But I'm sure appreciating the likes and the polls is very strong today. Appreciate that. Had quite the fire today. about 4 more minutes. Looks like that's about it. All right. I don't see no more questions coming. I'm about call it a day. Appreciate when it came through, even though it was a bit rocky. Some people want to start some flames. Anyway, appreciate one coming through, and I'll give it like 1 more minute. All right. I think we're gonna call it a day right there. I didn't get no more responses. I ain't hear nothing. So anyway, appreciate it when it came through. Thanks again. On the pro side, welcome to the new year. Thank you for responses. I'm getting ready to go. I'll be back tomorrow because the 2 hours is what it usually allows me before this thing goes down. Peace, the best. Stay safe, stay blessed. I'm out.